Hello, this is Brandon P.T. Davis, theatrical scenic designer, and in this Vectorworks tutorial video, we're going to be going over the 3D modeling tools in the tool palette. The 3D modeling tools are located here in the tool palette. You'll see a variety of tools which you can use for 3D modeling. The first set of tools I'm going to show you are probably the more simple tools. These are ways to create primitive objects in Vectorworks without a lot of effort. As you've probably recognized from the last video, creating a cube is relatively easy with the extrude function, but creating a sphere may be more difficult. So here is the sphere tool. You can access the sphere tool by hitting Shift 3. Essentially, it's like using the circle tool, and you just pick the radius. So in this case, a radius of 6 inches, and it will create a sphere. As we fly over, we will see this is a sphere. If you look, you can also use radius mode, diameter mode, and center radius mode. All modes you're familiar with using the circle tool. Going back into the top plan, we'll next look at the hemisphere. A hemisphere is essentially a half circle. The hemisphere works exactly like the sphere tool, only when you look in the 3D mode, it will just be the half circle. The next primitive object that you can find in the 3D modeling tools palette is the cone tool. The cone tool is best to have in a rotated view. So selecting the cone tool, I can use the radius and height mode. So first I'll select a center point and select the radius, just as you would with the circle tool. And then one click, and then we'll pick the height. In this case, I'm going to make the height 12 inches. And now we have a cone. You can also create a cone by doing radius and tip mode. Here we will select the radius, and then we can adjust the angle of the tip for a more organic shape. Another primitive that we can create is the pyramid object tool. To adjust the pyramid object, we can change the number of sides, decide if it's regular or frustum, change the mode, inscribed or circumscribed, and adjust the base, the radius top, and the height. I'm going to go with the defaults that we have selected here. I'm going to place our pyramid, and now we have our three-sided pyramid. You can go in the object info palette and you can adjust the settings here as well. The last primitive object tool I'm going to be showing you is the Ellipsoidal object tool. Selecting this object, we can then again manage its attributes in the Ellipsoidal object palette, and we can place the object in the document. Similarly, we can go to the object info palette and further change the height, width, and length of the object. The next tool I'm going to show you is the push-pull tool. You can access push-pull also by pressing P. I'm going to start with a rectangle, and I'm going to press P for push-pull. We start in the extrude face mode. This allows you to select a closed face, click once, and we can adjust the height of the face. We can do this in all areas. Looking at the push-pull tool with this tapered object, I will show you the first mode, which is the extrude face mode, where when we extrude the face, it follows the angle of the object. But if I go back to the extruded object and select the move face mode, you will see that we're going to move the face perpendicular to the object. This is again different than the extrude face mode, where we're going to extrude the face within the direction where the face is currently located. Next, I'm going to show you the extract tool. The extract tool is the icon right here. It can be also accessed by hitting Shift E. Now, to show you how the extract tool works, I have this kind of odd shape with a wood grain texture. Now, imagine if I wanted just one of these faces, so this face here, I wanted this to be blue, like a blue plastic texture. So in our texture video, we talk about having the ability to go and, select a part where we could choose like the top of the object. But because this is such a complex object, Vectorworks doesn't really know what to call the top or the sides. So making this blue isn't going to be the most simple thing to do. So using the extract tool, which is located here, I can pick a couple different modes. So there's extract by point, extract curve mode, extract isoparametric curve mode, and then extract surface mode. So I'm going to select the extract surface mode. I'm going to click on this surface here, and I'm going to hit the check mark. And what you see is we've created another surface on top. So now I can go up into my resource manager and then select a blue texture. Of course, we can't see it yet. So a little trick in Vectorworks is go into like a front view or a left or right side view and hold shift and then just nudge just by hitting the up arrow key one time. And now it looks like we have our texture. So if I go to a fast renderworks mode, we can see we have the texture sitting on top. The other mode that I find to be a good mode to use is the extract curve mode. So what I can do here is I'll select this. I can select any number of curves, and then I will check this. So now I have these curves and they're in a group. I can click inside the group, and if I wanted I could modify these. So using the Connect Combine tool, I can combine these in 3D. So we're going to use position matching and then connect. Let's make sure you're in the right mode. And then I could just simply, make a circle in the bottom and then extrude a long path. I can press OK. And so now I have a cylinder that's going along this object. The next tool I'm going to show you from the 3D modeling tool set is a tool that you'll probably use very often, and that is the Fillet Edge tool. Fillet Edge tool is similar to the fillet tool in the basics tool palette, only this is how you apply a fillet to a 3D object. So I currently have this 10 inch by 10 inch by 10 inch cube, and I'm going to select the fillet tool, which you can also select by hitting Control F. We can adjust the radius, the constraint radius at the top. I'll start off with a 1/2 inch, And I can select the lines on our object by holding shift and selecting the lines. When I hit this check box, the fillet will be created. We can adjust the fillet in the object info palette. So I could change the fillet to a half inch, not 10 inches, or 1 inch, not 10 inches. And there we are. If I wanted to remove the fillet, I can just select remove and they're all gone. Or I could modify the fillet, so I could come back here and add some fillets and then recheck the box. Now I have added fillets. I can also modify and unselect the fillet by holding shift as well and come back and hit the checkbox. Other tools you can find, if you click the tool preferences, we can choose to select a face. So I've just set kind of the center of the cube. Here's the face selected, and that selected the entire face. You can also adjust this to select all faces and hit the checkbox. And now the entire object is a half-inch fillet. So you can also hit Control U for ungroup to go back to your original shape. Next, I will show you the chamfer tool, which is again very similar to what you're used to from the basics tool palette. And so right now we have this chamfer set back at 1, and I can just select and then hit the checkbox, and you'll see that now instead of a fillet we have a chamfer. You'll see that we have the similar options of the chamfer as we did the fillet, and we can modify the chamfers in the object info palette the same as well. So the next tool that I'm going to share with you is the taper face tool. So the taper face tool, we can select the tangent face mode. So I'll select the first face, which is the face that is essentially the anchor. It's the face that you're not going to modify, and then select the second face, and we can taper this face at an angle. By hitting tab, I can select a specific angle. So here it's 15. With the pick face mode, I can essentially just pick a face and then the other face, and it will taper the face like that. So the next tool I'm going to be showing you, this is a bit of a fun tool. This is the Deform tool. It's located here, and it gives you a lot of different mode options. I'm going to share with you a few of the mode options. So I'm going to take this rectangle that I have. I'm going to go into top mode. I'm going to first show you the twist solid mode. So I will select the mode, and then I'll select the object. And then we can select any point in the object. So I'm going to select the center, and I can turn the object, and notice I've turned it once, it's 90 degrees, but I could do another full turn, and it's actually going to continue to spin each time I spin. Now, one of the things that you should note is as you spin, your ability to compute what you're doing may become more difficult. So I'm just going to go dial back to 90 degrees. And now you can see that we have spun our rectangle 90 degrees to create this shape. And I can still modify the height in the object info palette. So I'm going to modify this to 6 feet, and go in the front mode, I'll adjust this closer to 0. I'll put it. So now I'm going to go back to the Deform tool, and I'm going to select the Bend Solid tool. So we can bend this either a symmetric mode or a finite mode. So finite mode is where I can select like a point in the center, and I could just bend the object like that. Or the symmetric mode means that if I pick a point here, it's going to bend from both sides. The last mode that I'll share with you in the Deform tool is the Bulge mode. So if I select this object here, I can select any point in the object, and I can bulge the object out like that. So the last 3D modeling tool I'm going to show you is the Shell Solid tool. You can access this tool by hitting Shift S. So before we start with the Shell Solid tool, with this organic shape that we created, let's say that we wanted to make this like a flower vase. Now obviously it's 3 feet tall, so this is a very large flower vase, but just for the example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the Shell tool, and I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to change to say a 1/2 inch. Now with this face selected, I'm going to hit the check mark, and what it's done is it's extruded the lines, the faces by 1 inch in thickness and hollowed out our object. Additionally, what I could do is I could extrude a line 12 feet tall, and I could use the Shell tool by selecting the face here and then have that shelled. So essentially it adds thickness to a face. So this concludes our Vectorworks tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.